Namaste, and a heartfelt welcome on this beautiful morning to all the honorable dignitaries, our chief guests, and our guests of honor from around the world, respected deans, heads of departments from the faculties and from the institute, and above all, the inquisitive scholars. I want to warmly welcome you all on behalf of the SMUS India team to this auspicious occasion. I hope the advanced method courses would have been highly insightful and enriching for everyone. As we begin, I would like to take a moment to introduce ourselves. I, Sharvari,
And I, Ashwarya.
will be your host for today's inaugural ceremony of SMUS Conference India 2023. We are honored to have numerous profound intellectuals among us today, making this conference all the more meaningful. This conference is a testament to the fact that we are dedicated to advancing knowledge and understanding through research. It is an excellent opportunity for us to share our experiences and learn from one another. I'm pleased to see experts in academia from around the world present here today to share their knowledge and insights with us, and this will truly turn out to be an enlightening and productive event. Before we proceed with the event, I would like to introduce the dignitaries for today. Chief guest, Honorable Professor K.K. Pant, Director, IIT Roorkee. Guests of honor, Dr. Katya Lash, Director, DAAD India. Professor Nina Bauer, SMUS Director and Action Leader, TU Berlin. Professor Angela Million, SMUS Director and Action Leader, TU Berlin. Ms. Shikha Sinha, Senior Advisor, DAAD India. Ms. Anita Sharma, Chief Financial Advisor, Central Railways, Mumbai. Shri Hitesh Vaidya, Director, National Institute of Urban Affairs. Unfortunately, Hitesh ji won't be able to join us today. Lighting the lamp is, in a way, invocation of waves through knowledge that are initiated on the stage. I request the chief guests and the guests of honor to kindly inaugurate the conference by lighting the lamp, a lamp that illuminates the path ahead of us and helps us see the way forward. I call upon Ms. Utkarsha to take the session.
कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणा वरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसार परमा अद्यां जगद्व्यापिनी वीणा पुस्तकधारिणी अभयदा जाड्यान्धकारापहा हस्ते स्फाटिकमाणिका विधदती पद्मासने संस्थिता वन्दे तां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदाम् Thank you, Utkarsha, for that beautiful verse. As said by Albert Zent-Jorgen, research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has taught. With this quote, I invite Professor Gaurav Raheja to deliver a welcome note.
A very deep and a hearty welcome this morning to everyone, each and everyone here in this room and all. It is not a stroke of destiny and divinity alone. I believe it's also a stroke of personal pursuits of each one of you that something like this is happening here today. It's not simply methods and us, it's the schools of spatial methods in urban sustainability as a confluence of more than 30 countries in this hall. With those quick words, I warmly welcome the dignitaries on the dais, the chief guests of this inaugural day, Professor K.K. Pant, the director IIT Roorkee, who's been wholehearted supporter of pushing academic internationalization and the spirit of oneness forward. I invite Dr. Katya Lash as our guest of honor from DAD India, the director of the DAD India, without whose relentless support and her organization, we wouldn't be here. Dr. Nina Bauer and Dr. Angela Million, the two seeds with whom we could come together along with Professor Freya and Professor Gabriel from Botswana and Sao Paulo, Brazil, to make this whole SMUS network stand where it stands today. With those quick words, I would quickly give you a brief of what this conference is because we know our chief guest has another meeting to attend, and then we'll continue with things forward. So this is, ladies and gentlemen, the third international and interdisciplinary conference on spatial methods for urban sustainability, which is also the third RC33 Regional Conference of Asia and India. Let me also say this is the third conference in series of SMUS, but this is the first in-person conference because SMUS, the beginning of SMUS was struck with COVID very badly, but we had the first conference in Botswana online, the second in Brazil online, and this is the third one, but I think this is the first time we are all seeing each other in person. So at IIT Roorkee, which is an institution of technology, institution of innovation, but institution with a social mandate. From the water to agriculture, from the dams to the future technologies of artificial intelligence, I'm very humbled and proud that 175 years of this glorious history is today witnessing a new future of social convergence with an interdisciplinary mandate as it stands today here. This is a conference which is jointly hosted by the Department of Architecture and Planning and the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, trying to build a network of spatial and social methods, which perhaps I think need a new swing and a new wing to take forward IIT into the social realms. As a quick mandate, these are the key partners through which the SMUS network was established, funded under the DAD Exceed program, the TU Berlin, the IIT Roorkee, University of Sao Paulo, and University of Botswana. And it's also the RC33 and RN21 network, which has established, I would say, stronger with this conference happening in India in support through the DAD. This conference is funded through the funds with the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation, that's the BMZ, and we're extremely indebted to them for giving us this opportunity to take this discussion forward. As a quick review, this is slightly a unique conference because the mandate was not to select and reject publications, but the mandate was to disseminate knowledge, break barriers of disciplines, and allow young scholars from the global south and the global north to mix together and create a global debate on understanding research methods in a great depth. So the first day was a PhD day led by Dr. Gabriela Christman from Leibniz Institute, and followed by the two very intense days on advanced methods courses. I believe this audience and many students of IIT Roorkee have been greatly enriched and benefited by a long span of such courses, which are usually not part of a technological institution, which include ethnographic studies, visual research mapping, and certain other domains of social sciences. The next 3 days, which is today, 24th, 25th, and 23rd, 24th, and 25th, are the main conference days. And friends, here is the day that we are inaugurating the conference in the presence of our Honorable Director Dr. Katya Lash, and with our few guests of honor, Madam Anita Sharma from Mumbai Railways, Madam Shikha Sinha from DAD India, and also the Director of National Institute of Urban Affairs, who will be with us tomorrow, but who could not join us today. And the last day, 26th, would be a final confluence. What better place than Haridwar, which is also the holy water for us as pilgrimage, but also the landscape of Himalayas at the foothills, where this conference would conclude in its cultural meaning, hopefully, in a very meaningful way. Take it forward. We have three exciting keynotes coming forward, one today, another tomorrow, and third by Dr. Jackrit on the last day. 7 methods courses have already been concluded with a huge impact. 23 conference sessions, which are ongoing right from today, 2 p.m. onwards, and we received 180 session abstracts, of which 150 were finally selected for presentations. So this is how the conference looks like in numbers, and we have more than 30 countries participating, of which more than 20 people are already in this auditorium. This is how the landscape of plurality, the landscape of the impact of the DAD Exceed program, and the impact of the SMUS network is visible across 48 countries, with the orange dots from where we have received direct abstracts and participation here, and a large representation from the global south. So with those words, I would welcome once again the members on the dais, people from all parts of the world, including our collaborators from TU Berlin, Sao Paulo, and Botswana, to intensify this knowledge framework further. I'm sure Professor Pant's leadership has given us wings to flourish and take internationalization to a greater height. With those words, I thank you and once again welcome you to this conference from deepest hearty welcomes. Now I invite my team to please bring the book of abstracts to be released, unveiled, and I'll request Professor Pant to declare the conference open. Yes, Saloni, please come forward. Yeah. Thank you, sir. I request Manish and Shubhajit to join us.
Chief guest, Professor K.K. Pant, Director IIT Roorkee, previously held the positions of Petrotech Chair and Federation of Indian Petroleum Industries, Chair Professor, Chairman Gate and Jam, Chairman Library, Head of Department of Chemical Engineering and Dean Faculty at the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. He is an adjunct faculty at the University of Saskatchewan in Canada. He is also a fellow of several national and international academies, which include the National Academy of Science, India, and the Indian National Academy of Engineering. I request Professor K.K. Pant to kindly deliver his opening remarks.
So, very good morning to all of you. The distinguished personality sitting on the dais, Dr. Kadja Lash, the Director of DARD India, SMUS Directors, Professor Nina Bauer and Professor Angela Millian from Technical University Berlin. I came to learn, I think Ms. Shikha Sinha is not here. She's come, but maybe Ms. Shikha Sinha, or she's sitting on the dais. Ms. Anita Sharma, National Financial Advisor of Central Railway Mumbai. Sri Hitesh Vaidyaji from NIUA Delhi. Other distinguished guests who have come all around the world. I came to learn that more than 20 countries have participated for this global summit. Once again, I welcome all of you to our IIT Roorkee campus. We have our distinguished faculty from Humanities and Social Science and School of Department of Architect and Planning and maybe other departments also. The research scholars, other students and participants. So very good morning and warm welcome to all of you. And it's indeed a pleasure for me that the TAD, TU Berlin and IIT Roorkee have partnered for this prestigious summit, which is generally named as Global Center for Spatial Methods for Urban Sustainability. Sustainability, all of you know, right? We are talking a lot of things on sustainability. And then sustainability means it's a kind of environmental sustainability, ecological balance is to be made, energy sustainability, food, water. So all these what we talk about, food, energy and water, this few as an axis, then sustainability plays a very important role. Energy, we are everybody, right, talking in terms of the green energy, resources, right, and how to optimize the usage of the energy. We are facing the crisis with the plastic. We are facing the problem of electronic waste. And at the same time, we are talking about the urban sustainability. The issues which have come because of the industrial developments. At the same time, the issues have gone, right, in terms of the disturbance or ecological balance of our climate. So sometimes we talk about CO2, then we need, right, the solution for CO2 capture, then utilization of the green source of energy, which could be renewable sources of energy. So in total, when we look at this kind of conferences, which is on special methods for urban sustainability, I congratulate the team of Gaurav, Professor Gaurav, the team from HSS in fact, head of the department is sitting here, and all the institute, because it's a multidisciplinary approach. We always talk in terms of the interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary approach. IIT Roorkee has already celebrated 175 years of its establishment, and now we are moving in 176 years. We are looking for, you know that the Uttarakhand region, right, there are a lot of issues related to climate sustainability. You must have heard about the issues related to Joshimath. We several times heard about the water pollution, right? So a lot of the joint collaborative research, whether it is Indo-French or Indo-German or a lot of other international organizations, they have come for the treatment of our holy river Ganges. This is known as Devbhumi, also Uttarakhand. Then there are a lot of resources which are available which needs to be utilized effectively. So I am sure that this type of conference, which is of multidisciplinary kind, will find the solutions to help our social, right, problems. And we always talk in terms of the development of the products, improve the livability of our society. So in that way, when we look at from vocal to local and vocal for local or vocal for global, that's what should be our NARA. We all look, we believe in, right, diversity, equity, inclusion. We always work for that. So I'm sure that the conference will take care of all these factors. We would like to have the more and more participation from all over, right, the world in order to find out the solution for these kind of problems. So I thank to the DAT, right, for sponsoring this event. And I also thank the team of TU Berlin who have come all the way. I also welcome all the participants because I was told that more than 20 countries have participated. So all the participants who have come all over the world. The Roorkee, the place, if you look at the flora and fauna, the weather is now wonderful and you would like to see the nearby sightseeing areas as well as would like to utilize your knowledge of science and technology for improvement of the livability of the locals. So I would like to see the sustainability all around in terms of the economic development, in terms of the social development, in terms of the healthcare and nutrition. So with these short wordings, I wish the Congress a great success. I'm sure that the 1+2 days of this conference will bring some new domains, right, of areas of research which would be of multidisciplinary type and multi-institutional type and multi-organizational types. I would like to see the participation from all type of science, engineering, mathematics, and medical. And that is where what we look at the Make in India concept also, Atmanirbhar, self-reliant country also. So definitely I'm sure that this kind of, right, the development of green building, when we talk about energy efficient buildings, then definitely the solutions for these kind of new, right, lightweight materials, all these will be included in this conference. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor K.K. Pant, for your kind words. I invite Professor Gaurav Raheja to present, sir, with the token of gratitude.
Let us begin with this exciting journey of discovery, learning, and growth. With this, I call upon Professor Gaurav Raheja to make his inaugural address to the audience.
Warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again, and thank you, Professor Pant, for his insightful, encouraging words. I also welcome Professor Banerjee, our former director here as part of the SMUS network, our various respected deans, my faculty colleagues, uh, the head of Humanities and Social Sciences, Professor Singh, and everyone else in the audience here. I'll quickly give you a brief review of what this conference is about and what it holds further. Can you get the slides? So as you can see here, I think I would begin by saying um, it's been a 7-year-old journey, to be very frank, when a small seed of a discussion between an architect and a sociologist happened in TU Berlin on how do we study people in order to understand the various dimensions of human behavior. And that is how I got introduced to Professor Nina Bauer with a chair of what is called as social research methods. And it was a mere destiny or like a stream of river that social science river took us to Dr. Angela Million in the Department of Urban Design and Urban Planning to understand how the social landscape can be seen from the lens of urbanity. And with this formation, I further met Professor Freya and Gabriel, Dr. Gabriel from University of Botswana and Freya from University of Sao Paulo, a Humboldt fellow as well, in TU Berlin, when this whole idea of SMUS got sewed together. It was very uncertain what's the future going to be like, but it was the 2019 timings when the seeds of almost a month's hard work were put in together as a form of proposal that today, this whole day is finally seen. And that's what is the team of SMUS action speakers with SMUS directors, that this concept of SMUS got enshrined. And thank you so much to the German Academic Exchange Services to believe in us such that this network will grow to 48 countries, of which 30 countries have already participated in this event. So the whole idea of SMUS was focused on actually one very critical word, which is methods, and something which is, I think, a big gap in the idea of our research. We all want to research, but many a times we are also astray. We are lost. What will my research bring out? Sometimes we are in a huge haste to find a solution, but sometimes we therefore miss the idea of a journey in research. This idea of SMUS celebrates the journey through 5 action points. The first one, which is about educate, of which Professor Nina Bauer is the action leader, and of which the mandate was to disseminate knowledge through an international conference. The second was to combine teaching and research experiences as experience. The third was evaluate, which is developing postdoctoral fellowships. And I'm pleased to say 2 of IIT Roorkee students have also been benefited both at doctoral and postdoctoral level under the SMUS network. Fourth, the exchange, the idea of exchange with practical and empirical applications, which is to bridge between research and practice, and which is the fifth action as well, which is to enhance knowledge by bringing practitioners here. And I'm proud to say, though Professor Hitesh Vaidya is not amongst us right now, but National Institute of Urban Affairs has been our pillar to support the SMUS activities through the National Urban Learning Portal in disseminating this knowledge to a larger audience. So this was about the education, where the social science methodology, which has sometimes been seen as a very distinct methodology, but I think needs more proliferation in the institutes of science and technology. Second was to gain applicable research skills. Many scholars have been benefited by across the world online courses delivered by TU Berlin to global scholars on bringing the teaching and the research dimensions through these methodologies. Third is to reflect methods in doctoral and postdoctoral courses. The SMUS network has been great enough to select 12 PhD scholars and 4 postdoctoral scholars and funded them for the entire durations to do their PhDs or postdocs in countries even beyond their own countries. And then applicable skills and practice of an action led by Professor Fraya on empirical applications, so which is also bridging between social science and ground research, maybe on subjects like homelessness. And number 5 action, which is again led by Engela and Kathleen, which is to bridge between urban research and the practice of mobile workshops. I'm proud to say IIT Roorkee has also been another partner in this, in developing a MOOC program besides many other MOOCs which have been produced as global knowledge. I'm also sharing this to the Dean Academics here and the Dean Internationalization here, that these MOOCs are also available to us, to our students, to be taken up at any given time and expand their knowledge horizons through these actions in this. This is how the whole conference structure looks like, which I think I've already briefed about, starting with a PhD day, methods training courses. In fact, what we realized that a concept of PhD day needs to be proliferated further. It was an excellent success. I'm sure as an institute, if we can twice a semester take a PhD day concept, I would say SMUS would have sown its seed further. Methods training courses become another rigorous dimension, which I believe at levels of research, if we can take this knowledge which was packed in these last 2 days, further through this network itself, I believe so, even in an online or a digital mode, our students can benefit with various research methods with global scholars through these collaborations. And day 4, 5, and 6, which begins from now, is the intense conference participation where the audience on the other side will actually share knowledge through their sessions, and we shall be benefited by them. Finally, the 26th, which is the last day of excursion, culminating into actually a discourse of urban sustainability through a discourse in the city of Haridwar, which has both an industrial dimension with the Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited and the Sitpur areas, and on the other side, a pilgrimage traditional town, bringing that exposure to our ethnographic researchers. This conference brings together 3 important keynotes. Today's keynote is on participatory research. Tomorrow with Professor Nina Bauer, Professor Fraya, and Professor Gabriel on the social science methodologies. And the final one with Professor Jekrit from Thailand, also on the social science research methodologies. We had 7 methods courses, 23 sessions remain to be unfolded. And incidentally, we also have a 23rd February as part of the beginning of this conference, and 150 session abstracts to be further sharing this knowledge. More than 30 countries have participated, of which more than 20 are physically present in this hall, is something I believe is a very unique spectacle for IIT Roorkee also, because in a post-COVID world, it has not been easy for people to manage this much. We had Dr. Gabriela Christman from the TU Berlin and the Leibniz Institute of Society and Research, who led the PhD day, and it was a concept that she only offered. This is how the 7 advanced methods courses happen, with Professor Nina Bauer on qualitative methods, Professor Jörg Strubling on grounded theory and situational analysis, Dr. Ilana Bulkunik on visual research methods, Professor Praya on ethnographic research on street life, Professor Wolfgang Osher on cross-cultural research survey methods, Professor Engela and Dr. Ignacio, again on visual methods in spatial research, and the last one by Professor Gabriel Praimu on dynamics of conceptualization in social research. I'm very pleased to say with these methods courses, we have started to see the unseen and which manifests in the society to look at this. A quick glimpse at how the PhD days look like. This is how the whole inaugurals look like. This is the audience witnessing the whole PhD day, very intense sessions. I'm receiving such feedbacks that people want this to continue, but they're sad that this is ending in 2 days. Very intense sessions of advanced methods courses. We had amazing participation from around the globe in this PhD day, followed by the glimpses of the methods courses across all the 7 courses, which were witnessed in various formats, with an engaging discussion, one-to-one discussion, practical studies in the streets of Roorkee, on the campus. And I believe this one-to-one discussion, the idea of cultural exchange, is all I think that this whole funding was looking at. Internationalization by forgetting the idea of where I am and who I am was the spirit, with one earth, one family, one light, one knowledge coming together as a confluence of SMUS. With these glimpses, I think this is how we had the SMUS Light Day yesterday, where it was inaugurated by Dr. Katya Lesh, and these SMUS colors flying very well in the IIT Roorkee as part of this. If I can quote here Dr. Gabriel Christman and a couple of other colleagues, I met them separately and I asked them, how has your experience been? I am very delighted and proud to share in front of Dr. Pant. I received a very small one-line statement, and if I can quote Dr. Gabriel Christman here, he says, "It is a paradise to be here." So I believe, welcome to the paradise of IIT Roorkee, which I hope brings both calmness, light, and oneness to all of us, and wishing all of you a very insightful and an engaging, smooth activity here. I'm your host, along with my co-hosts, Professor Manish Asthana from Humanities and Social Sciences, Professor Shubhajit Sadhu Khan from my department, without which we wouldn't be here, and my Sleepless Moose team, we will talk about them later. But I think behind the scenes, all this, I once again welcome you. Please reach out to us in case any support that you need with us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now request Professor Nina Bauer, SMUS Director and Action Leader, to deliver her opening remarks for SMUS Conference India 2023. Professor Nina Bauer is the Chair for Methods of Social Research Department of Sociology at the Technical University Berlin. She is also the Director of GCSMUS, that is, the Global Center of Spatial Methods for Urban Sustainability, the past President of Research Committee on Logic and Methodology in Sociology, RC33, a board member of Research Committee on Historical Sociology, RC56, of the International Sociology Association, ISA, and a member of Collaborative Research Center, Refiguration of Spaces. Being an expert in her field, she has been teaching courses in qualitative, quantitative, and mixed methods and social science epistemology for more than 20 years. I request Professor Nina to deliver her opening remarks.
Welcome. Actually, I'm not the director of SMUS. I am one of the directors of SMUS. The other one is Angela, and this is coming, one of the ideas of SMUS that we're highly unusual, really on equal status, because one of the ideas of academic discourse is that it's supposed to be an equal scale discourse. And one of the key ideas of SMUS was when it was generated that what we observe both in the world and in academia, while issues and world problems are increasing, there's a strong hierarchy in the way we're doing research. It being very much centered in the global north and with the result that, first of all, large parts of the world population are excluded from being part of knowledge production. This is, in our view, not only an issue for knowledge production itself, but at the same time, because those parts of the world population who are excluded are also coming from the world regions where the social issues are most pressing. This also means that very often we're asking the wrong questions and we're not addressing the most pressing questions. So one of the key ideas of SMUS was decentering. Decentering and making colleagues from the global north just one part of many and one voice of many. It's a long-term aim of seeing the variety we have in the world, in the variety of academic discourse. And frankly, this is thanks to the conveners of our past conferences. I want to thank both Gabriel Fermot and Freya Frese, who organized the last conferences, and Gabriel and the Roorkee team for the current conferences, because what I'm seeing here, that we moved a step forward. We are much more diverse than at many other conferences. I think this is already exact for the long-term goal for decentering knowledge. The second aim, and this is reflected not only in the disciplines represented in the conferences, but in ourselves, that we believe that tackling and addressing these problems can only be solved by transdisciplinary and interdisciplinary discourse. So this is one of the reasons we're very happy to finally meet in person. And I also want to thank not only IIT Roorkee and the Roorkee team for organizing us, but also our other partners, which are RC33 from ISA and RN21 from ESA, but especially the German Ministry of Development, which is funding the whole DRD Exceed Center via the German Academic Exchange Center. So thank you for making this possible. And especially I want to thank everybody who can to spend the time and effort, not only of preparing a paper, but for coming here. We know how challenging it is. So thank you all for being here. And we hope we're going to have a very inspiring and fun 3 days for discussing interesting things and learning a lot from each other. Thank you.
Since Professor Pant has to leave, kindly excuse us for a moment. We'll be resuming in just 1 minute.
An advancement.
Excuse me, please. I have another meeting, so I'm taking a leave. But I wish the conference a great success. Please enjoy all 7 days here. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Implementing or fulfilling SDG 11 can only happen if we favor planning and implementation strategies that work with methods that cut across disciplines and silos, and to see where can we develop them further. If you look at the science, especially social science research landscape currently, most research is funded and conducted by researchers in the global north, while 80% of the world population are living in the global south, and this is also where most of the pressing problems exist. We see the challenge of developing urban context. We see that the major growth of cities is happening in the global south. And of course, we are aware of the severe challenges to make human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. SMUS is about decentering, delinking, and decolonizing.
The idea of SMUS network is providing a platform for collaboration between scholars from Global South and Global North. So we are not just learning from, but we are also learning with each other.
SMUS stands basically for Global Center of Spatial Methods for Urban Sustainability. It's a network that brings together partners from very diverse countries, 48 countries, diverse institutions, and we are bringing together very different scientific disciplines.
Decolonization is about freeing the minds from the colonial mindset, which means recognizing the ways and methods of knowing used and applied in different cultures.
We cannot assume that the same methods of data collection that are conducted or used in Germany can be automatically applied to the Global South. And so methods have to be localized and contextualized. SMUS puts forward an innovative methodological stance because it attempts to bring together research methods of sciences and to then co-produce and enhance spatial methods in higher education and praxis. And here we favor an approach for promoting urban sustainability in the form of evidence-based and low-impact urban development. We actually have various divergent goals in the center, which are equally important for the overall aim. And this is why we designed 5 actions in order to address these different needs.
Action 1, Educate, is about furthering social science methodology discourse between international scholars and building networks for future collaboration. Action 2, Experience, is about gaining applicable research skills in social science methodology through combined teaching research courses. Action 3, Evaluate, is about reflecting on methods in doctoral and postdoctoral research. Action 4, Exchange, is about gaining applicable skills in practice through practical empirical implementations. And Action 5, Enhance, is about bridging the gap between urban research and practice through mobile workshops and the development of MOOCs.
The formats we are choosing right now, besides doing conferences, besides doing trainings or joint teachings, is also workshops and also joint visual works, but also the development of MOOCs, of massive open online courses, for example. And it caused and fostered cross and transdisciplinary exchange because we explicitly also asked for it. Coming from the Botswana conference, I think we are on a good way. In the typical World Congresses of Sociology, out of 3,000 delegates, you have usually less than 20, for example, from Africa. In the Botswana conference, we had 680 participants and about 80% of those came from Africa. So I think what we have to do is continue with our concept.
It went very well, I have to say that. The benefit of knowledge sharing, but also the opportunity to create a network with scholars from other parts of the world, share ideas, knowledge, and also different expertise in different fields.
I think it's intensified connections and exchange. And I also see more creativity and ideas sparking up about ways and methods to do research and practice.
Thank you, Professor Dina, for your address earlier. I now request Professor Angela Million to address the audience. Professor Angela Million, SMUS Director and Action Leader, is Chair Professor of Urban Design and Urban Development, the Department of Urban and Regional Planning at Technical University Berlin. She has taught core classes on urban design methods and tools, as well as courses on visual communication in planning for more than 20 years. Her recent research activities include participatory research designs with young people with transdisciplinary methods in spatial research. She is also the director of the Global Center for Spatial Methods for Urban Sustainability, SMUS, and principal investigator within the Collaborative Research Center Prefiguration of Spaces.
I already wondered when I was sitting there what I could add to all the already heard words of my colleagues and also Gaurav telling how we came together and came about SMUS. So I thought I'm going to confess something here. This is, in fact, my third conference on methods in my whole life. I've never been on any method conferences before. My background is in urban planning, in architecture, in urban design. Yes, we go to conferences, we discuss a lot. We also discuss methods, often more like teaching methods and things like that, planning methods, but we seldom reflect upon research methods. And I may speak for some other colleagues who also come from these applied sciences. So a lot what we do, what we discuss is about doing, and we usually don't reflect much about how we are doing it. Yes, we have ethical discussions and so on, but we don't take the time to really look at our methods. And I really have to confess, we don't even write about them. It's a lot of knowledge that's there, I would claim. It's out there in our field, but we haven't taken the time to actually bring that forward. And this is something where I'm having a big learning curve myself in these conferences where I'm forcing myself to reflect, where I'm looking forward to finally discuss with my colleagues from very different disciplines about how we are actually doing research, what works, what should be changed, what methods we still need to develop, and finally also to sit down and write about them. This is something that I value personally a lot about our network, and I at least saw some people smiling, and I take that a little bit as a confession that maybe you also have not been to many method conferences before. Maybe it's even your first one. I hope you also have this experience, share this experience, enjoy coming together, sharing not so much results, but more about how you do it. Ask yourself, where are the blind gaps we're still having? Where are the blind spots we're still having? And I'm looking forward to these discussions and to maybe also some confessions within our conference and content producing. And I also believe we have to talk about new method developments. And I'm looking forward to engaging with all of you within this coming days. I already had the pleasure to discuss with students, with PhDs, with in the method courses about their work. And so I'm quite sure that this conference is an additional platform to expand upon that and filling the gap, filling the blind spots, and also, explore a new field. We should talk more about it. And here I'm talking really from the perspective of being an applied scientist, being also out there in praxis, in trying to somewhat get the world a little bit more sustainable. And I'm looking forward to do this together with all of you. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to engagement.
Thank you, Professor Angela. I now call upon Dr. Katya Lash to deliver her inaugural address. Dr. Lash holds a PhD in history and is also qualified in business administration. Professor Lash is the director of DAAD Regional Office in New Delhi. She is responsible for the coordination and strategic development of DAAD's activities in India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. At the same time, she heads the German Center of Research and Innovation in New Delhi and is responsible for its strategic management. Before her work in India, Dr. Lash headed the DAAD's International Research Marketing Division in Bonn, Germany, and the DAAD Information Center in Bucharest, in Romania. Dr. Lash, please.
Good morning and warm welcome from my side, dear Gaurav, dear Angela, dear Professor Bauer, dear Dr. Pant. I have to also something to confess. Normally when I travel to IITs, I see labs, I talk about microbiology, construction. I lesser talk about social science and humanities, and it's lovely for me to see here today as a historian that we can talk about these things, but also combine technology aspects and also social science and humanities. I'm very glad to be here on the occasion of the opening of the third International Interdisciplinary Conference on Spatial Methods for Urban Sustainability, shortly SMUS, hosted by IIT Roorkee. The last years have shown us the importance of science and innovation, but we also witnessed that personal interaction cannot be replaced through modern technology. So I'm really glad to welcome you all, and I've heard more than 20 countries are present here in the room in person to this conference, which brings together researchers from all over the world to debate on methodological challenges in the field of spatial methods for urban sustainability. It's impressive to see the number of countries represented in this room. Global exchange and cooperation, that's what's in the DNA of the DAD, I have to say. The DAD Strategy 2025 is based, amongst others, on two pillars: enhancing international cooperation, what we do here today, and cooperation for the benefit of science and society, but also fostering global responsibility to contribute to the development on the other hand. And I think we see here the SDG cubes, and I think that's a good sign. And as the conference is focusing on SDG 11, we're really taking also this topic forward. SMUS is funded by the DAD and the Ministry of Development in the frame of the EXCEED program. The program, Higher Education Excellence in Development and Cooperation, was launched already in 2009 with the objective to build sustainable networks of German universities and their partner organizations in the Global South and to share expertise amongst these networks. SMUS is one of 12 networks funded by resources from the Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development. These networks, and it's very special, include extramural organizations and stakeholders from civil society and the private sector to make sure that scientifically produced knowledge is being transferred and applied, but also to foster practice-oriented methods of teaching at the partner universities. And I think this SMUS network is an embodiment for both the DAD strategy pillars and for the objective of the EXCEED program. Networks are the core element of the EXCEED program, and I would like personally to congratulate the coordinators of this network for the achievements in the 5 strategic areas and for bringing more than 30 countries together and to work really engaged in an intensive exchange. Working closely together to solve the challenges of humankind is also the core of G20, which is currently led by India. One family, one Earth, and one future is the slogan of G20 of the Presidency of India, which focuses on the cooperation between the Northern and Southern Hemisphere to enhance the Sustainable Development Goals. The foundation of successful international cooperation is trustful partnerships. So I hope the coming days of the conference will therefore hopefully not just enhance the exchange of knowledge, but also help to develop the global Center for Spatial Methods for Urban Sustainability further and to make its network more stable and sustainable. My thanks go to the local organizers of the conference, the IIT Roorkee, whose beautiful campus offers the framework for scientific discussions and exchange, but as well as creation of new ideas. So I hope ideas will flow over the next few days. You will enjoy your time here. I'm looking forward to fruitful discussions, and I wish all the participants a very fruitful conference.
Thank you, Dr. Lash. On behalf of SMUS India team, I request Professor Gaurav Raheja, Professor Shubhajit Sadhukan, and Professor Manish Kumar Asthana to felicitate our dignitaries for the event. May I also request Ms. Anita Sharma and Ms. Shikha Sinha to join us on the dais, please.
अब बनो सिर भी
May I now request everyone present to please rise from your seats for the national anthem.
आपसे निवेदन है कि कृपया भारतीय सांकेतिक भाषा में भारतीय राष्ट्रगान के लिए अमिताभ बच्चन और चिल्ड्रन विद डिसेबिलिटीज के साथ खड़े हो जाएं। पृष्ठभूमि में लाल किला है। स्क्रीन पर 3 जेट विमानों का धुआं नीले आकाश में भारतीय तिरंगे झंडे सा प्रतीत हो रहा है।
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे
Thank you, my lovely audience, my lovely guests on the dais. With that, we do come to the concluding part of this inaugural session of the SMUS opening ceremony. And last but not the least, I'm filled with and overwhelmed with gratitude to so many of us. And I would just want to say it on an extempore basis. First of all, heartfelt gratitude to my government of India, who, from the Ministry of External Affairs, could make many such arrangements possible that all of us are here. The Ministry of Home Affairs and the Ministry of Education, from whom we obtained amazing clearances to get this conference a great start. Honorable Director of IIT Roorkee, Honorable Deputy Director of Roorkee, and every functionary of IIT Roorkee, from the highest dean to the lowest end on the ground. Amazing support. I've got sleepless. It wasn't their job, but they went beyond their jobs to make sure that we are here together. The invisible and now a little visible DAAD behind the funding to sponsor so many of us to be here to support mobility, and the people of Germany on whose taxpayers' money this conference could also get hosted from the BMZ. The DAAD, the director as a representation, Dr. Lash, Dr. Ms. Shikhasana, from that organization, we are overwhelmed with your amazing, unflinching, and long-standing support to all of us. The TU Berlin team, starting with Professor Nina Bauer and Professor Angela Million, as, what should I say? There's a thin line between a professional relation and now a personal relation. And I think, beyond knowledge is the idea of exchange. Beyond knowledge is the idea of experience. And that warmth between Indo-German relations and the IIT Roorkee and TU Berlin relations, I believe gets stronger with the idea of SMUS. And I also want to thank with them the Berlin team, Ms. Kathleen, if she's there in the audience here, Ms. Thando, who could not be here with us, but yet has been with us, Ms. Rafaela from TU Berlin again, and many other members of the TU Berlin who would have been supporting us from that end, making also realize how digital science and technology could bring societies together also. A big round of applause for them. That's very nice. The other SMUS action speakers, Professor Freya, Professor Gabriel, amazing, unflinching support. I remember many WhatsApp messages by Freya, Gaurav, I stand with you in solidarity, knowing what happens behind the scenes to ensure to put this show together. Amazingly, extremely warm gratitude to you. Warm gratitude to guests of honor, Madam Anita Sharma from Mumbai Railways, while she represents a fairly high position of Chief Financial Advisor. But I must say, at heart, she also has a background of sociology and the Western classical music, in which it's an amazing personality amongst us to share and exchange more knowledge with such guests of honor. Small round of applause for Madam. Mr. Hitesh Vaidya, though he's right now not with us, he was supposed to be here. He will be there with us tomorrow. The National Institute of Urban Affairs, a pillar which is like a quasi-governmental organization, but in one stroke has a huge impact through the MOOCs that we create. So the knowledge that we create here, if it's disseminated to the urban professionals, it's also through some support of such organizations. So I thank National Institute of Urban Affairs as our, again, long-standing partner to proliferate this knowledge into reality. A round of applause for Dr. Vaidya. And millions of you, Professor Banerjee, Professor Janaka, I may not be able to maybe speak all names here, all the methods course instructors, Professor Gabriela Trisman, everyone, each one of you has been part of us and making, now that we are not able to distinguish with those lines, true gratitude and warm welcome to you also once again. I thank the RC33 and the RN21 network, who I know I was not directly related initially, but through Nina, Professor Nina, this network also gets to IIT Roorkee. With great pride, I thank them for supporting this conference in India. I thank my co-conveners, Professor Manish Asthana and Professor Shubhaji. I think it was exactly 1 year before, in February, post-COVID, that we sat down to script how the future is going to be. It's unbelievable, guys, with your standing ovation, I think, for them, the kind of show they've been able to put together. And last but not least, some of them in the white jerseys here. I think a long list of names: Divyang, Yamuna, Santosh, Jinaj, Sharvari, Aishwarya Isha, Aishwarya Bali, Varnita, Neeraj. I don't know if I'm missing few names: Yash, Vipin, so many of them. I'm sorry if I'm not able to speak few names. Make sure I'm doing all that in the valedictory. But the SMUS India team, which is making us stand. And thank you to my very dear colleagues, my Department of Architecture and Planning, the heads of Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, for believing in us, for encouraging us, because friends, departments are not in buildings, they are in the minds, but we want to also further bring it into the hearts. And I think this hearty fusion can get better if we discuss food and tea together. And that's where I invite you all for a high tea just outside this auditorium and look forward to joining. Professor Meena wants to say something.
Before you are in for tea, we have, could please, because there's this nice banner for everyone, but we have a lot of the SMUS partners, not only the lead partners, but all the SMUS partners. Could please all the SMUS partners, and including Wolfgang for RN21 and Gabriela for one of our TU SMUS partners, and Jörg, if you don't mind, as one of the board members of the German Sociology Association and a representative of the German Sociology Association, just come here for a group photo, because it's because we can then see how many from the representation in the countries. Thank you.
Please join us for the group photograph, the SMUS partners and the RN21, RS33, RC33 people.